think, act, and prosper. You are now tuned into the Money Level Show.
So I've been hearing a lot of talk about the precious metals demand being at I don't think it's all-time highs, but it's been highs in the last however many years. I think it's a few years or whatnot. What are you seeing on the demand side? I mean, I've been seeing these memes about the COMEX not
Yeah,
having
well, there's a lot of information, disinformation, and misinformation about the COMEX. I'm not going to sort it all out with you right now, but and thanks for again, Daryl, for reminding me. I will say this on the demand side for silver. You stated it correctly, Daryl. It is in 2020, the demand for silver as an investment just set a new record, an all-time record. Normally, in a very strong investment demand year for silver, you're looking at 300 million ounces, maybe. In 2020, it was 530 million ounces was demanded between institutions and retail investors. Retail investors that buy, 1 ounce coins, 1 ounce rounds, 10 ounce bars, kilo bars, and 100 ounce bars accounted for 200 million ounces of silver in 2020. On top of that, the institutions put about 320 million ounces of silver into the ETFs. So the total 530 is greater than the industrial demand. Never seen that kind of demand for silver for investment ever. I mean, it's unprecedented. How much is it in 2021? TBD, to be determined. We don't know yet. I don't think it's going to be as strong as 2020, but I have a pretty good gut feel because you can get some hints that it's pretty strong, Daryl, which leads to the obvious question. If demand is so damn strong, then why is the price still under $30 an ounce? And that's a question I can go ahead and answer, but it's basically the price for silver is a derivatives price. It's not the real price of silver. And what does that mean? It means if you buy it at the coin shop, you might pay $4, $5, $6, $7, $8 over the paper price to obtain physical silver. Even on a wholesale side, these bars are sold at above the quoted paper price now. So the market's, I think, a lot tighter than most people think. And a lot has gone into the silver market. And there are things behind the scenes I can't tell you yet, Daryl, but hopefully in the next 2 or 3 months when we do our next interview, or maybe I'll call you up and say, hey, let's get it on together. We'll have some information that will be imperative for silver investors, particularly gold investors as well, about what's really going on at these bullion banks and these brokerage houses that facilitate the swapping of and hypothecation of physical silver over and over again. So,
wow. So you mean to tell me that the demand has increased so much, and the price is still under $30 an ounce, and we're seeing these premiums. The premiums are skyrocketing, and everything. So a lot of silver investors. What would you say to a silver investor in that situation? Would you just say like, hey, we just need to hold on? I mean, and this kind of leads into our next kind of topic, which is the risk of recession. And we know that silver and gold and the precious metals have been a stable form of value, a stable form of money to protect people from these risk-off environments, right?
Right.
And so, what would you say to the silver investor? As far as how they should think about their investment in silver. I mean, because obviously, if you're waiting for the price to go to $300 an ounce and and all of that, you may be waiting a long time for some of these things to shake out.
Well, I'd say hold your ground. I would say feel your conviction and stick with it. I hate to say be patient because, you know, there have been people holding $25 silver for 10 years, right? But I also did a lecture. This is answering your question. I'm diverting a bit, but I did a lecture recently at the 121 conference, mining conference in Las Vegas, and it was all about silver. I haven't done a silver only speech in a while, but based on the total demand curve going out to couple of decades, we basically don't have enough mining supply plus recycling supply to meet the demand as it currently sits going out a few years. So that means the price is going to be squeezed. And that's based on, you know, more solar panels, investment demand staying the same, which I think is going to increase, and your brazing and your catalysts and all the things that silver does increasing at a reasonable amount. And the mining activity remains even or steady where it is now, which means about 850 million ounces mined per year. However, the grades are degrading on some of the larger silver mines, and the oil price keeps going up. So some of these mines at $25 silver aren't so profitable anymore. And the grades they can't control. I mean, sometimes they can. I mean, there's a few mines out there where you can go in a certain area and get out higher grade ore than in another part. But generally speaking, there's a lot of open pit that's disseminated. You can't change the grade. And even in the hard rock vein mining, it's pretty hard to stop in one area and go get it in another area. Point being is that I think the mining activity is not going to be level. I think it's going down. So now that would be a bigger gap. So think of the demand side curve going up higher, and instead of the mining supply being flat, it's actually going down. That would increase the delta or the gap between the supply and demand curve. And again, this illustration that was presented by Mike Watson, who does, Matt Watson, that does independent analysis on a lot of the metals. He looked at investment demand being steady, and I disagree with him. I think as we degrade further into this economic collapse scenario, that more and more people that have the ability to save their money will save in real money, and that will put upward pressure on prices.
Yeah, so everybody hold on.
Yeah, let me add one more thing, Daryl.
Yeah.
The problem with, that I've seen through, almost 50 years now is that people get the silver story. It's a good way to be outside the banking system, on, and they buy too much for them. I'm overweighted silver, but I've been in it my whole life and it doesn't bother me. But so I'd say, keep stacking. I think stacking is the best way for most people. Just buy that extra, $50 a month or $100 a month or 25 or whatever it is. Buy a coin a month, buy a roll a month, whatever your budget allows, and just keep going. But people that go all in because they get excited and understand what's happening and want to protect themselves, and they jump, they bite right away, and they take too big a bite, and silver's flat for 10 years, they get quite discouraged. So you got to kind of look at it from what suits me best, what suits my family best. And again, I think just dollar cost averaging over the long term, saying, look, David says 10% is enough. For me, it's 20%, or it's only 5%. But Daryl, if we were able to get the word out and every American bought two or 3 ounces of silver, that'd wipe out the entire silver production annually, year over year over year. And when you think about that, 3 ounces is equivalent to, $3 as far as what's stamped on the eagle. And that's, it's that much silver. That's not an eagle, but that's not a lot of wealth as far as what the value is currently. In other words, it's $30, we'll say, with the premium. So 3 of those is 100 fiat. And we all know today 100 fiat doesn't buy you a whole lot of groceries. Yet that would wipe out the entire silver supply. So it's vastly undervalued. relative to what it's bought in the past. I mean, that used to be a day's wages, and a day's wages at what, 15 an hour is what, 40, 125 bucks or something like that. So really looking at it from almost any aspect, when silver is money or valued as money or valued as a commodity that you trade for goods and services, most of history, not the last 100 years, but thousands of years before that, silver's been worth, in today's fiat terms, 150 bucks an ounce.